90% of women lose their progress during the same few hours. And most didn't even know that those hours are the real reason they keep starting over. And listen, nobody ever told me this, and I had to learn this the hard way. And the real reason so many women struggle is because the moment we walk in the door after work or picking up the kids from school, whether that's 5 p.m., 6 p.m., we walk in with absolutely no plan. So we come home on autopilot, tired, stressed, hungry, overstimulated, irritated, and honestly just done with everyone and everything. And at that moment, that chaotic window decides everything. It decides or determines whether the rest of your night is going to go ahead and support your goals or completely derail them. But today, we're going to go ahead and fix that, because once you learn how to manage those after work hours, fat loss becomes a little bit easier and a little bit more doable. Hey friends, I'm Becca, and in today's video, I'm going to give you the exact routine that will go ahead and transform your evenings to help you transform that body. And before you start panicking, no, I'm not going to give you the perfect routine, because that does not exist. I'm giving you something based off of real life, something that actually works for women that are actually busy, tired, overwhelmed. But before we actually get into the habits, I want to tell you a quick story, because girl, if you've ever struggled with your evenings, I've been there. There was a period in my life where my after work routine looked like this. I'd leave work exhausted, tell myself I have food at home, and somehow still end up in a grocery store grabbing snacks and quick processed foods because I deserved something after that extremely stressful day. Or worse, I'd get home, order something off of Uber Eats that just left me tired and bloated, and then I'd always tell myself the same lie every single day. Tomorrow, I'm gonna fix this. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be better. But guess what? Tomorrow did not magically change, because my evenings were not changing. And once I learned that fat loss isn't just won in the gym, it's won between those hours of coming home from work until you prepare for work the next day. So I'm going to walk you through what actually helped me during this time. 5 categories, simple habits, life-changing outcomes. So let's get into it. All right, so number 1, we need to go ahead and create habits that help us stabilize our evening and nighttime hunger. And no, hunger is not just about willpower. It's about physiology, blood sugar, your cortisol, and the ultimate chaos that happens during this time. So if nights or evenings are your weak spot, this is the foundation for you. So let's go ahead and break this down in simple language. When you walk in the door after work, your body is tired, your brain is done making decisions, and your blood sugar is probably low. That combination makes you crave fast, easy, convenient, high-calorie foods. But what do we actually do about this? We need to start eating a real dinner. Not snacks, not bites, not yogurt and some crackers here and there. A real dinner. A plate, actual food, something satisfying with protein, carbs, and fats. Not perfect, but a balanced plate. And this is why it's so important to prepare your meals. Even if it's simply just preparing one protein source with 2 different carb options in advance, so it makes making meals so much more easier and doable, especially when you come home. So when you make that plate, of course, prioritize that protein and fiber. This is going to help stabilize your blood sugar, calm your cravings, support your muscles, and make you feel so much more grounded. Even if everything else goes wrong, if your dinner has protein, your nights are going to be a little bit easier. And do not, I repeat, do not wait until you're starving to eat. This is the biggest trap that I used to fall for, which led me to making terrible food decisions. If you walk into your house starving, you will overeat guaranteed. This is simply biological. So go ahead and eat within 60 minutes of actually getting home. And if that's impossible, make sure that you have a protein-rich snack the moment you walk in the door, so you're not completely raiding your kitchen like a tornado. Make sure you're front-loading those veggies and protein before you add those carbs onto your plate. This is going to go ahead and flatten those glucose spikes and reduces those nighttime cravings. It also keeps you from inhaling those carbs like a vacuum. But make sure that you're actually adding those carbs at dinner to control your cravings. And this is where so many women get it wrong. You avoid the carbs at night, and then you end up binging sweets later because your brain is screaming for serotonin. This is going to also help you sleep better at night, calm your nervous system, and prevent nighttime eating. Replace consistent snacking with structured meals. I realized that I didn't struggle with hunger. I struggled with unstructured eating. So remember, planned equals controlled. Avoid mindless eating in front of your screens. Eating in front of TV screens, phones, and tablets is the fastest way to add 400 to 600 calories without even noticing it. Remember, eat seated without crazy distractions. Not standing out the counter, not scrolling on your phone, not while cleaning. Sitting down tells your brain the meal actually happened, and the urge begins to calm down. When you fix your dinner routine, you fix like 70% of your nighttime cravings. And if you skip the rest, your night is always gonna feel like a fight. Alright, number 2, we're gonna move in a way that flattens those evening cravings. Now this is the part that's so underestimated. Movement after dinner is not necessarily only about burning calories. It's about controlling those hormones. So let's get into what I found helpful during this time. Take a 10 to 20 minute walk indoors or outdoors, if you can, after dinner. And this is one of the most powerful fat loss habits that I definitely started to implement, because it's gonna flatten those glucose spikes, improve your digestion, reduce those nighttime cravings, and calm down your nervous system. Remember, don't sit longer than 60 minutes at a time if you can. Evenings are typically when your activity level tends to drop, and when your daily activity lowers or crashes, your cravings begin to spike. So set a timer, especially on your smartwatch, to stand up, stretch, or simply move or change rooms. And remember, gentle movement during this time, if you can. And to increase movements, think of it like this: tiny movements still matter as well. So think putting away your clothes, wiping down the counters, or walking during your phone calls if that's all the time that you have. This lowers your cravings without effort. When your body moves, your cravings begin to calm down. But when you stay still for hours, they begin to explode. Number 3, we need to create habits that reduce decision fatigue and help build an easier tomorrow. Most nighttime overeating actually starts with poor habits that occurred earlier on in the day, specifically from mental exhaustion and lack of planning. Women typically don't binge because they're hungry. They binge because they're overwhelmed or simply exhausted. And here's how we're gonna start preventing that. Plan tomorrow's breakfast the night before. Even just knowing what you're gonna eat removes morning chaos, which reduces those cravings later on in the day. So at least prep or visualize your morning meals. This doesn't have to be a perfect prep. Just know what's happening exactly when you wake up. Pack your lunch. If your lunch is not prepared, you're gonna go ahead and grab those convenient foods. And typically convenience foods are going to crash your blood sugar and increase those nighttime cravings. Go ahead and portion out your snacks. And this is not because you're restricting. This is because unplanned snacks turns into overeating without you even realizing it. So to make this super easy, prep a ready plate. That's going to consist of your protein, your fruit, and your veg in a container that you can easily grab and go. This alone is going to help you change your entire day the next day. So prepare tomorrow's food while dinner is cooking or being prepared. And this one hack can help you save thousands of calories a month. You're prepping everything while you're already in the kitchen, no extra time needed. And clear your counters as much as possible. Visual clutter increases that mindless eating. And a clean counter is going to help you maintain a calm brain. So help by putting those tempting foods out of sight. And no, I'm not telling you to get rid of them, but just put them out of sight where your brain sees them like 10 times a day. Remember, if your sleep is chaotic, your hunger is going to be chaotic as well. And if you're the type of person that typically skips meals during the day because you're super stressed, remember to set timers to eat food. I know this is something that I used to struggle with, because skipping meals during the day is going to lead directly to you probably overeating at night. Remember, when you reduce decision fatigue, you reduce that overeating instantly as well by streamlining everything and making things as easy as possible. Number 4, if you're a person that struggles with emotional eating, we need to create habits to help this. Now, if you're eating at night because you're tired, you're lonely, you're exhausted, you're irritated, overwhelmed, or just done with everything, because this is where food becomes the reward, the comfort, and ultimately the escape. So here's how we gently fix this. We need to start creating a decompression routine, especially after work. You don't walk through the door and immediately start doing things, because your cortisol is going to spike and you're going to chase that food for comfort once again. You need to give yourself at least 10 minutes to decompress, whether that means taking a shower, stretching, breathing, or even changing your clothes, so that you can come back regulated, not chaotic. So we need to start creating a list of at least 7 things that soothe you that is not food, and choose at least 2 things before you emotionally eat. This is going to help rewire your brain over time to start making different decisions and limit the emotional eating triggers. If scrolling on social media, especially watching specific food related channels or food related content, or having conversations with certain people that just set you off, protect your peace. Journal 1 sentence. What do I actually need right now? Because it's more than likely not food. Just 1 sentence. This typically breaks the emotional autopilot that directly leads to food. So we need to stop reward eating in this case. A hard day doesn't mean that you need a dessert, because ultimately food won't solve or fix that work stress. But we also need to give ourselves grace and ultimately forgive ourselves if we do slip up, because it's gonna happen. So that 1 cookie that you had is not gonna ruin your entire progress, but the guilt ultimately will lead to that spiral. And we need to go ahead and stop the spiral at the first moment. So what I needed to do was build non-food rewards, because yes, ultimately your brain does need pleasure, but food doesn't have to be the only source of it. And when you fix those emotional patterns, your nighttime becomes a little bit more peaceful and less chaotic. Number 5, and ultimately, we need to start creating habits that ultimately shape your evening environment and help your hormones. Now, your environment controls your hunger way more than you realize. So we need to start creating a kitchen closing ritual. Wipe the counters down, turn the lights off, make tea, brush teeth, and ultimately tell your brain that we're done eating today. After 8 p.m., begin to start dimming down the lights, which helps your brain prepare for bed, because bright lights is going to delay that melatonin. And of course, be mindful of the dopamine stimulation from social media, food noise, and even your TV. These things are going to keep your brain on, which increases the hunger and your cravings. Now remember, you don't need to eliminate them, but you just need to be more intentional and sleep by 11 p.m. This was huge for me. Better sleep is going to help you with your fat loss. And when your environment supports you, your cravings begin to decrease. Okay, so I want you to leave with this. Most women try to lose weight by being perfect throughout the day, and they ignore the part of the day that actually causes the most damage, because your evenings matter. They build your body, they shape your habits, they determine your tomorrow. Now listen, I'm not asking you to be perfect, because I am not perfect and I have flaws as well, but I am asking you to be a little bit more intentional. 1 small change tonight, 1 shift in your routine, 1 boundary that you set with yourself can change your entire week. And if this video helped you, friends, make sure you like the video, comment below, and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video.